Good morning, Roshini.
Good morning, Valder. How are you?
I'm so wonderful, excited to talk with you. I couldn't wait till this day came so we could talk about who are we going to be, choosing out of this large pool of talent.
Well, there have been so many ads that have obviously been playing down in Iowa, but I'm sure no matter where you are in the country, you're seeing some of those ads. 13 debates the GOP candidates had to get to today, and they're looking for about 120 to 150,000 Iowans who will likely come out tonight, starting around 7 p.m. Central Time, to vote. And so there are 6 people who are participating, as you know, at the caucuses. Huntsman has chosen to bypass Iowa, so he's already in New Hampshire waiting for next week. But it's an interesting time because you've probably read some of the polls. It pretty much never happens where it's pretty much neck and neck among the 3, Mitt Romney, Ron Paul, and Rick Santorum. And just last night, Newt Gingrich came out saying that Mitt Romney is a liar, and if you want a liar as your president, that's the person. Now, those are pretty strong words, and words are one of the things I deal with as a communication coach. So for voters, whether you're a caucus voter tonight or for the rest of us, the general electorate, as we go toward the regular elections in November, we need to watch the candidates and see if the words they're saying about their record, about their beliefs, match the actions. And I'm sure you can, you're a talk show host. Words are very important.
That's what I sell, is words. So I know the power of words. Words can build you up and words can break you down. Now let me ask you about this. Okay, let's break it down a little bit. Okay, Newt Gingrich said he was running a positive campaign. What happened?
Exactly. And then he's trying to put a spin on the fact that he's not going to do negative ads. Well, he doesn't really have any money to do any ads. So that's part of it. And I happened to watch him last night, a pretty lengthy interview on CNN. And as much as he's saying he's not doing negative, he did come out and attack Mitt Romney. And he is talking negatively about other candidates. So at the end of the day, I think he's also trying to deflect attention away from some of his own lifestyle record. And the voters of Iowa are pretty fundamentalist. I mean, they're into the religious values, the ones who come out for the caucuses, that is to say. They're into sort of the right wing of the Republican Party that's very Christian, fundamentalist oriented. And Newt Gingrich doesn't really live that lifestyle. He's married to his 3rd wife right now. He has a pretty shady past when it comes to some of the ethics when he was Speaker of the House. So even though he was a good leader at a certain time in our country's history, his record doesn't showcase honesty either. So it's an interesting point that he's coming out calling Mitt Romney a liar. And this is what we need to watch for. I mean, what are these people saying? Do they stand on their own records? Are they willing to be challenged? Michelle Bachmann is one of those people who had a really strong swing earlier in 2011, but the last part of the year she's really fallen behind. And it seems there that people are seeing that her rhetoric doesn't really match up with her record back in Minnesota or her record in Congress.
Okay. You said something about Michelle Bachmann. I've been wondering, are we a reflection of what these people are doing? Because we're the one who vote. So what I mean by that is, are we trying to find a good guy if we're a good person? If we use good words? Or if we're not, we have shady pasts ourselves, all these divorces, all these cheating scandals. Are we drawn to these people, or do we always want somebody better than us?
I do believe we put a pretty high standard on people we elect. And that's why when the different scandals come out, for instance, the Herman Cain scandal, he was riding high with popularity and in the polls at a certain point, if you recall, this fall. And then, all of a sudden, one by one, the women and the accusations started coming out. And it just got to be too much. He had to get out. At the end of the day, probably a lot of people could relate to Herman Cain. I mean, he was a really good businessman. He's been married for many years. But at the end of the day, even if people could relate, they don't want to think they're electing someone who's had all these affairs on his wife, who's lying possibly to the American public about these other women. And it's that kind of thing. It's not to say that we should be overly critical of these leaders, but what we do need to look at is what is their body language saying to us? What are their words saying to us? Currently, Rick Santorum is fighting the fact that he endorsed Mitt Romney back in 2008. Well, you know, the old saying goes, politics makes strange bedfellows. Well, back in 2008, Santorum was not running for president. So at that time, he found Mitt Romney the right person to run. So as reporters look at his record, as voters look at Santorum's record, why did he endorse Mitt Romney in 2008? Now he's saying certain things about him. That's fine, he's running against him, but if the things he's attacking Mitt Romney on are the very things he endorsed him about back in '08, then we have a conflict of words. And those are the kinds of things that people should look for. Maybe even more so than some of their skeletons from their past. Because you're right, no one is perfect. We all have skeletons. I certainly wouldn't want someone digging around in every bit of my past, and I'm sure you would feel the same way. But it's not that we're going out and we're the highest office in our country. I mean, you know, it's a pretty sweet job. I mean, it's stressful, but it's a pretty sweet job to be president. You're controlling a lot of things, and you have the say over a lot of lives. So at the very forefront, you better be an honest person, don't you think?
I think so.